Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Champions of Marketing. My guest today is Alexandra Cote. She is a content marketing and SEO strategist based in Romania. Alexandra, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
So the things I want to talk about today is right up your alley: content strategy and SEO, so search engine optimization for those that aren't aware of that term. And the big questions on my mind right now are, how does someone who is just building their own business, maybe it's a product-based business, maybe it's a service-based business, maybe it's a consultancy-based business, how does someone build a company from scratch and then get to the first page of Google? So maybe we start with there. Well, what are the strategies that you recommend to your clients to do that?
Well, the first thing you'll need is obviously an idea. It doesn't have to be a very great idea or anything like that. It just has to be something you are confident in doing, and maybe some kind of service or anything like that where you are confident in just bringing in your value, your knowledge, and just something new to that specific industry. And basically, you're going to be crafting your idea for your new business from that. Now, as a general rule, when I started my own business, it's okay not to aim to do it all and just find your niche. For example, I started out as a digital marketer, but it is, in my case, it was better to actually focus my work on content, on something that I was best at and something that, I was able to market myself for, and most importantly, work without, feeling the burden of having to go to work, even if you're working from home. So yeah, that's the first thing, just having that idea. Then obviously you're going to do your research around the market. Because, I don't usually recommend starting a business that's very competitive. Like, even if you are going to be a type of consultant, or in my case, a writer, you're going to find your niche just to make sure that you're able to just do bring in your best input into that industry, and obviously deliver your best work, and just be able to create a personal brand for yourself, first of all, as you are growing your business. Because at the beginning, you are going to be a one-man show, and it's just you. So yeah, yes. After you do, the research that you do on the market is basically just like checking out what others are doing, if there's other, bigger companies or freelancers who are working with other employees. Because, in some countries, you can also employ someone if you're a freelancer, or maybe you just have your own company. And yeah. So you do need to check that out, see what they're doing. And I do recommend that you check in as much detail as possible, their marketing tactics, business hacks, anything like that, from what they're doing with their website to how they're promoting themselves. Because most of the time, you are going to be doing kind of the same thing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just do what they're doing, obviously without copying. Just, the tactics, like having a website that covers this and that, choosing specific marketing channels, social media networks where you want to promote yourself. And from then on, you're just going to set up these networks for yourself with a website, a blog from the beginning. In our case, since they are consultants, you can just start it from the beginning. Software as a service companies, which I work for, usually also, not usually, but some of them launch their content strategy and just promotion before a launch. So I've actually seen lots of consultants do a bit of promotion just on social media before even having a blog, a website, anything like that. And then just after this website, the blog, you're going to also obviously choose your social media networks of interest. For consultants And, even certain small businesses, LinkedIn is a good opportunity for you to do networking. So it's definitely one of the first networks to focus on. And, there's a lot we can say about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that LinkedIn, if we're just talking consultancy businesses, it is probably one of the better platforms, since a lot of B2B selling is done on LinkedIn. If you have a product-based business, or some kind of service that's related to the recreational or leisure industry or fitness industry, it seems like Instagram and Facebook are the better platforms for that. And I think a big question that comes up with anyone that's trying to start their own consultancy company, whether it be consulting on fitness, consulting on business, consulting on marketing or sales, there are that those big challenges of, first of all, what is SEO? What does it mean? Why is it important? So can we drill into search engine optimization? What are the actual strategies that you do for someone that is starting out a consultancy business and they're trying to get to that first page on Google? So what specifically are you doing from a technical standpoint to make sure that we're getting on that first page and then working our way up to the top?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I'm just going to briefly take you through the history of SEO, because what has been done in the past is not what you should do now. At first with SEO, people were just putting their blogs, websites out there and just cramping them with keywords, just adding all of the keywords they wanted to rank for and just submitting their websites to all kind of directories in an attempt to get links. Now, everything that's been done then, if you did this back then, now you would probably have a high spam score, which is going to bring your domain down. So this is something to keep in mind if you're buying a domain, or just if you have an old website you want to revamp. Then the next stage, which the larger stage, up until recently, was basically you could honestly rank with your website and blog posts just through, keyword optimization, the on-page SEO changes. That includes, adding your keywords often, but not everywhere, in the headings, in the meta description, meta title, URL. And, besides this keyword optimization, you would basically get backlinks, but not from directories, but instead from reputable websites, high authority websites, basically websites that are read because they are considered dependable, trustable. And, there are a lot of these on-page SEO factors that you had to optimize. But the thing is that, after a while, you do need to grow your domain authority for, there is not a specific set time. Instead, you just need to be putting regular effort into creating content, trying to get backlinks, maybe guest posting here and there, promoting your content, and this could get you high in Google search results. Now, this is still valid up to a point. The thing is that recently they had a change for Google's algorithm, and now they are just putting the algorithm, the way Google reads your content, if you will, they are putting more accent on just how people will be able to consider you as dependable, how you are a subject matter expert. So basically what they are trying to do is to get on the top 10 results for a specific keyword. They are trying to showcase just websites with high authority and websites that actually have a lot of links, like news outlets, all of those media outlets that like Forbes, Entrepreneur, anything like that. But, this being said, It's just that now the focus, and even before, content before being indexed by Google, it's also not before, but after it's indexed by Google, it's also validated by people. Like if people click on your article, on your website, portfolio, whatever you have, and spend more time, or they check another page on your website, or they just don't go to another result from that top 10, then your website is going to be considered as a dependable source. But the thing is that with these changes, if you want to rank for a high volume keyword, and a high volume keyword is basically a keyword that most people search for, and just a lot of people look for that keyword, as opposed to low volume keywords that aren't as often looked for. So if you want to rank for a high volume keyword, it's quite difficult to just rely on on-page SEO optimization. And you do need to also focus on the off-page efforts, which include especially outreach. But obviously, you will also have to grow your brand on the side so that you're bringing in traffic from there, from social media, and just positioning yourself as a thought leader, because that's what Google is trying to do. They are trying to display only information that is valuable, that is accurate, without any errors. Now, it's not in all cases doing this yet, because obviously the algorithm is still going through changes and still not accurate. But yes, on the other hand, I did notice that low volume keywords are easier to rank for if you're maybe just a consultant at the start of the road, but not in the first months. You do need to start your blog, start your promotion and all that. So that's just to be clear. You won't be able to rank with almost anything from the first month, let's say, unless you're working 24/7. So for these low volume keywords, you can actually rank high, but obviously you won't get as much traffic. For example, in my case, when I write articles on my own blog, that is not my main focus. My main focus is my work for my clients. So for my blog, I just put my ideas there and that's it. I didn't really focus on SEO and all that. But, I had, for example, an article on how to write an article introduction. And I didn't optimize it at all, but it ranks very high for something like how to start an article or something like that. But that keyword has a low volume. It has like 200, but it is bringing in, 100 views per day, which is, okay if you have multiple articles like this to kind of get your authority started up.
Right. Yeah, that's super interesting. It does sound pretty complex, but with someone like you that has the experience, that's, I guess, the value that you bring is you've got experience in helping smaller brands build out their strategy. So once let's keep using the consultancy business as an example, once your consultant has their SEO in place and it's going to take a few months for them to increase their scores and start getting onto the front page of certain search results with key terms. Once that's done, you mentioned the importance of content strategy and content writing. So talk to me about the principles of content strategy as it relates to a small startup business.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing you're going to need is really just, and you probably already have this, is your goal. What do you want? Do you want to just get more traffic, rank higher, or just get more people to know about you? The problem is that these specific goals that I mentioned they are basically vanity metrics. They won't really bring in, revenue necessarily. What most consultants, small businesses want is, to up their profits. So you will need to kind of pair your goals in a way to finally achieve that goal of yours to sell more. So obviously your first goals are going to be to bring more traffic to your website and everything I mentioned. After you set your goals, and this is why you might want to start working with someone else, with a professional, or just to have, a few hours to talk to them, but it does take a bit of time to get accustomed to this. The thing is that every single goal has a different type of content that needs to be created. Like if you want to rank for a keyword that just has an educational, informative intent, you're going to have to just go and analyze all of the results for that keyword and see how you can bring in your own value while also being able to meet the reader's intent. And usually, for example, for high volume keywords, that means you're going to have to put together a large guide and just try to find something unique to bring in there. Whether it's, a video of yourself, some super unique insights and secrets you have, quotes from other experts in the field, anything like that. That is for one type of goal. Because once you want, let's say you are thinking of starting a newsletter, just to stay top of the mind with your prospects, you are going to have to collect those emails. And that's when you're going to start to think of putting together some ebooks, white papers, any type of gated content, even, a checklist or something that you can offer to someone for free, but in exchange for an email. Yes. And you can do this as you go, like maybe you have a spontaneous idea, but it's also good to just establish an editorial calendar, maybe every 3 months or so, and just think about your goals, analyze some of the keywords you could rank for if this is one of your goals, and kind of see what you can write and make sure that what you write is not repeating what everyone else has said before, because this is a huge issue with the internet. The same information is being repeated over and over again, so you are not really going to be able to differentiate yourself. And from there on starts the writing process, basically. And, if you're at the start of your own, you can just think of, let's say, 20 articles to write on your blog while also doing promotion, outreach, and all that. Do some networking, even cold emailing if it works with you. Just don't focus strictly on content writing because you need to promote that. And after that, if you're doing things correctly, you should start your domain authority. You should see your domain authority growing a bit. And, once that authority, which by the way, you can get, for example, the Moz bar, it's a Chrome extension and you will see the authority. And the thing is that after you reach like 20 something, your articles are going to start ranking higher and just your authority goes up a bit.
When would you use a LinkedIn blog over your own website's blog, or when would you use a gated PDF ebook over a newsletter?
Well, the thing with LinkedIn blogs, for people who don't know, LinkedIn has basically posts and blogs separately, articles. The thing is that for some reason, LinkedIn doesn't value their blogs, articles, as much as organic posts anymore. So for the time being, until something changes with the algorithm, I wouldn't really recommend a LinkedIn article unless you already have a solid following and you just want to share some information and get it in front of people. So for LinkedIn, just stick to using LinkedIn posts, and they are also releasing LinkedIn stories. I'm not sure how those will look like, but yeah. For LinkedIn posts, or, even if you want some Twitter posts here and there, that is just for if you have one idea and you want to develop upon it, you want to share it with your network. And if you make sure to use the right hashtags, you will also get some more views from outside of your network. So that is one way of getting yourself in front of more people. And I actually recommend, if you have just short ideas to talk about and something meaningful to share, I do recommend that you use LinkedIn, because it, again, with the right hashtags and just networking, it gets your content in front of more people than just Google would, because Google is full of content, much more than LinkedIn, obviously. So that is when you would want to use LinkedIn. For PDF, I'm assuming you're referring to just sharing it maybe through your blog, through a pop-up, sharing an ebook. Yes, that is, again, if you have some content that you're not creating with the purpose of ranking, and you instead want to share more insights into your industry, what you're doing, but not in a promotional way, in an educational way, like maybe a guide to content writing or a guide to just PR outreach, anything like that. If you don't want to rank with it, because maybe the volume for the keyword is too high or something like that, you can turn it into a guide, an ebook. You have lots of options. You can just place it on your blog and you can give it for free. You don't even need to ask for an email. You can ask for an email to add the person to your email list and maybe have this as a pop-up on your website. You can also launch the guide on Product Hunt. You can just share it, anything like that.
You mentioned LinkedIn stories. So that sounds interesting. I think that could be a really great way to promote your content in a 15-second video. How would you be consulting your clients on using LinkedIn stories effectively when it's released?
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing to keep in mind with, I don't know all of the details of it since it's just rolling out, but the thing to keep in mind with stories in general is that if you're doing regular stories and just often, you are basically putting yourself at the very top of everyone's feeds. So this would be the benefit, that you can get yourself in front of more people and just get your message across, as opposed to just a post that maybe everyone will scroll past by. But, usually that's what they do. They scroll by it. So yeah, as opposed to stories where, you click on one and then you kind of skip them, but you go through all of them. And so I am assuming that, as you said, they will be videos or maybe images. And if you are going to check some consultants or just freelancers on Instagram, they are already doing this. They're doing videos of themselves talking about a topic, giving tips for free. You don't have to share anything that's super secret, but anything that's handy to someone and you're comfortable sharing for free should work. You just record yourself, any tips, findings of yours, use those, see how those work, what your competitors are doing, answer some questions, anything you're getting your way. I mean, as you're going to start using a network, you'll notice your specific network's needs, what you're interested in, and just tailor your message to that.
Yeah, I think a LinkedIn story was actually the first I've heard about it. But as someone that produces my own video content, I'll be on that as an early adopter for sure, because I see a lot of value in that, especially if you're putting out creative, compelling content regularly. As you mentioned, getting to the top of someone's feed and being there because you're posting every day and multiple times a day. That's great, but I think the downfall would be if you do it too much and it's content that isn't relevant to your network. That could be a problem, right?
Yes. That's why it is also very, very, very important from the very beginning that you don't just connect with everybody that comes your way and choose your network. And a pitfall you could come across is just if you're a consultant, you shouldn't really always connect just with other consultants, but try to connect with the people you're targeting, your ideal clients, and have more of those people in your network. And obviously, instead of giving tips on consulting in general or something like that, you're going to give tips for your ideal clients, not for the others who are doing the same thing as you.
Mm-hmm. So as a content writer and strategist yourself, when you're working with clients, do I come to you with an idea of a piece of content that I want to produce and spread throughout newsletters, my network, however I want to distribute it? And then is it up to you to actually build that content for me?
It can be in different ways. I have clients who come to me and they know that they want to rank for a specific keyword. So we are putting together an article for that keyword, and then I'm just going to do the research for them and see what needs to be written and just write the article from there. But if you don't know where to start, usually a content strategist will probably put together for you an editorial calendar where they analyze your competition, your needs, your goals, just what you want to achieve, and put together basically the next articles that you're going to have to write. So you don't have to do this from zero if you are working with a content strategy.
Do you have any type of guarantee or quality assurance that when you work with a client, there will be some kind of positive outcome?
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, if you really want, for example, to rank, if you want to guarantee this, we are basically going to target just low volume keywords from the beginning, at least until you grow your authority. Other than that, what everyone needs to understand is that you can basically rank for any keyword in this world, but it's going to take years. I had this situation. I wrote a guide for the keyword project manager once, and I updated it on a monthly basis. I kept it up to date. I changed anything I added just to keep it relevant. And it took me 2 years to get it to rank for the first position. So it's just, there aren't guarantees. Like you can tell someone that, yes, you're going to get this, but it's going to take a few years or so. Like at some point it's going to work. But I can't just publish something and tell you that the next week you're going to have 10 new clients. This doesn't happen.
So it seems like it's a bit more of a long-term strategy, and it does require patience. It also requires consistency.
Yes. With content and SEO, both of these. It's not like ads or so. Yeah.
So, Alexandra, for anyone that wants to contact you and potentially work with you in the future on content strategy, content creation, or SEO, what's the best place for them to find you and connect?
Well, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just type in my name and you'll find me. Or, you can write to my email. Should I just say it or?
Yeah, say your email and then I'll put it on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, so it's COTE Alexandra 11, that is 11 @gmail.com. And yeah, these are just the most direct ways for them to contact me. And, if there's ever any question from them, from you, that they're interested in finding something about content strategy, if they need help with something, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available.
Awesome. Well, Alexandra, I'll tag you and I'll also put your email address in the LinkedIn post and also on YouTube when I post this video. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It was wonderful speaking with you.
Thank you, and hope to keep in touch.